Hey, welcome to Pretty Well. Do you want to get to the root causes of your health concerns? Do you find yourself Googling, why do I feel this way? And looking for solutions to feel great again? I'm Lisa Smith, and I too felt exhausted, achy, and like I was aging too quickly. I wanted to look and feel like myself again, and spent way too much time and money going to practitioners, even functional medicine practitioners, and not getting results. So I became a functional medicine practitioner myself and learned how to identify and fix root causes to health issues. The good news is there is so much you can do to reclaim your wellness. In this podcast, you'll find quick, simple, and evidence-based guidance that you can easily fit into your day so your energy will be soaring, your mind clear, and your skin will return to its beautiful glow. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the Pretty Well podcast. I'm Lisa Smith, and today I have such an interesting guest to bring to you. Today I'm talking with Cathy Goldstein, and Cathy is the pioneer in functional aesthetics and the creator of True Energy Natural Facelift System and Tools. She has a groundbreaking approach that integrates energy medicine, facial expression science, and functional aesthetics to restore skin vitality, brain function, and emotional well-being. With nearly 40 years, 4 decades in holistic medicine, acupuncture, and skincare innovation, Cathy redefines aging by leveraging biophoton communication, fascia intelligence, and frequency-based cellular repair. 40 years, I don't know, you must have started when you were a child, Cathy, but welcome to you. Well, I'm so excited to have you on today.
I'm all about practice what you preach.
Good talking with you.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be here because this is definitely a great topic. It's such a huge industry of not just regeneration, but also authenticity and resilience. Aging is inevitable. How we age is an option. That's what I like to talk about.
Oh, well, you're in the perfect spot because that's what we like to talk about too, and our audience loves. Let's talk about your journey. You are spanning different aspects of holistic health, and I'd love to know how you got started on this journey.
Okay. So I've had a few defining moments in my life that I like to call the sledgehammer. I always look for the feather, but sometimes we need the sledgehammer. One of those defining moments was when I was 26. I had been studying for pre-meds and got really sick with Crohn's disease, ended up in the hospital for 3 months. Within that 2-year period, had 7 surgeries, almost died a couple of times. Medical technology saved my life. Without those surgeries, I would have died. But what I did realize is that Western medicine doesn't really include a healing system, respiratory system, digestive system, but no healing system. The healing system is really where we get our vitality back. The message was, we've patched you up, go live your life. As compromised as I was, I mean, I was like 90 pounds when I got out of the hospital. So I segued into acupuncture. My traditional training is in acupuncture. And of course, when you end up getting into a field, especially in alternative medicine, for a specific reason, everybody who comes to you really stems from the energy you put out, which is, I can help you if you have autoimmune disorder. I can help you if you have Crohn's, if you've got skin disorders. I can, all of those pathogens that have been living with. So I had a really busy practice. I worked a lot in not just acupuncture, but also in working with the emotions and the neuro-emotional component. A lot of those stressors, I've heard you talk about that, Lisa, those emotions really weigh down on your immune system and overall health and then show up on your face. And then I worked a lot in energy medicine. And so then at 49, I had another turning moment, and it was inadvertently catching myself in the mirror and being absolutely shocked that what I saw was not what I felt. They were such a disconnect. I looked years older in my face. I was 49 at the time. I'm 65 now, and I feel like I looked older then than I do now. And so I really went back to my practice and started rethinking the skin as a system, right? Not just as a superficial, right? It's not only the system of the fascia and the lymphatic system and how cells are repaired, but also the muscles of the face and what they do and how we hold our face is like a mirror of our life. There's some emotions that we don't release that tend to get stuck on our face. All of our stress gets stuck on our face because the muscles of the face are different than the muscles of the body, where we have extension and contraction. The face doesn't work like that. The face is more skin to muscle, muscle to muscle. When we make perpetual expressions, when we have perpetual stress, we see it in premature aging areas around the mouth, between the eyes, where people call it the 11, or in the forehead, pulling down on the eyebrow to drop that eyelid. And those are all the things that I really started to unpack. And what does it take to release those emotional stressors off the face? And how does it relate to brain and brain function?
Wow, that is good. I've done a few episodes recently on how we're holding those emotions in the fascia of our body. I did not take it to the face. You are going to be so enlightening today because our body, it's become a very popular book now. The Body Keeps the Score. And there's another one by Gabor Mate, that When the Body Says No, and it's really talking body wise, but you've narrowed this into something that is very unique. So let's talk about what some of those symptoms are. What does that
Yeah.
look like on the face? I've seen it on my face, like
Right?
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in very stressful seasons, you just look in the mirror and you're like, what is going on here?
That's right. That's right. At the moment, I'm experiencing a lot of stress with my mom's health, and I can see it on my face. I look more tired. My eye looks heavier. Like one side of my face is droopier. My mouth is tighter. All of those things I know are my emotions just
Yeah.
staying right on my face. Right.
Mhm.
There's a couple different angles in looking at this. In Chinese medicine, the different meridians or access meridians are on the face. So the liver meridian between the eyes, which the emotions of the liver are anger, irritability, frustration. So when we're trying to understand something that we can't quite understand, we might furrow our brow, right? But then when we add other things into it, it adds in like confusion or disappointment. Like I always call this area around the mouth the disappointments in life because it's our frowning. So the reason why we tend to hold those is not just the muscles of the face, but it also is just because we don't always consciously work at releasing those. So it shows up on the face. And like you were probably talked about with the body, issues are in the tissue. It's going to show up somewhere in your body. But the face is, we wear our face. This is an unavoidable place to like, you can't hide your face, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is so interesting. But your timing to come on is perfect. I've also done a couple episodes on face yoga and different things, the face and how to hit workouts for the face, how to
Right.
help keep muscle tone. It's kind of like going to the gym and working out the body, but if we're not
Exactly.
dealing with the stress we're carrying, it perpetuates the jowl development, the nasolabial fold.
Right.
Talk to me about what have you learned and how to start to release some of that stress, that worry, that disappointment, that
Yes.
resentment, anger, all of the things that we are human. It's not bad that we feel them, but what do we do about it?
And you know what? Let me just bring up one other aspect because I think it kind of leads into what you're actually releasing when you use the different tools is that there's a direct connection between the muscles of the face and the emotional and the limbic part of the brain.
The emotional processing, the amygdala, writing that. Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So what happens is that when we are, well, let's put it this way. Have you ever heard fake it till you make it, smile and laugh till you're happy?
Hmm.
The muscles of the face when you smile trigger your brain to tell you that you're experiencing happiness and joy.
Okay.
So there's a direct connection between the muscles of your face and how we use them and what it tells our brain. And then our
Okay.
brain sends it back forward in saying, oh, in our prefrontal decision making area of our brain, we say, I am happy. We're a conscious awareness. How this shows up in communication is that if you and I are talking and you're telling me this heartfelt story, I'm going to see it on your face. But before I see it on your face, I'm going to make what's called micro mirroring
Hmm.
emotional expression that
Okay.
sends neurons from
Hmm.
my perceived front of my brain to that limbic emotional processing part. It
Hmm.
tells me how I feel when I make those facial expressions and then tells me how you feel.
Oh
So
my.
it's this limbic loop that we don't think about because 90% of communication happens before our mouth even opens. So all of that is why it's significant is as a being a mom, because you're teaching those mirror neurons to develop with your children. It makes a difference in dating, how we communicate as an executive or at a board meeting when you're pitching. Your ability to read that is super important and part of your emotional intelligence and your ability to develop what's now called soft skills, which is much higher rated than tech skills. It's the ability to communicate with people, understand them, have them feel heard, and feel that you're engaged with them. In using the tools that I developed with the frequencies imprinted in them and a specific protocol to be able to hit those acupuncture meridian points and actually stimulate the release of them throughout your entire nervous system, including your brain and your body. So what happens when you do that protocol is you're releasing more than just the muscles. You're releasing everything that's attached to them as well.
So if I understand you correctly, then as you're doing this protocol, you are releasing the muscles that are holding the emotions that we've gotten stuck. But because we're also interacting with our nervous system, our limbic system, and meridians, it's having a whole body, mind, and spirit effect as
Right.
we release the face.
That's
Okay.
actually correct. Let me tell you what I have a study on and what I've seen clinically. I'm a prove it kind of gal. When I developed this protocol, I wanted to make sure that the results I was seeing, which were like, wow, blowing me away, can I put this product in other people's hands and have them get the same results? Right. So I put the system with Dr. Pugliese, who is no longer with us, but he was the big name of research and credibility. And like he worked with the high-end companies to help them give claims about their products. He developed the tools that measured bounce and collagen and elastin. He's the one who actually developed tools that everybody else uses now. I put that with Dr. Pugliese, and he called me after 15 days and said, I have no idea how these women are getting these results. They look like they've had mini facelifts after 15 days. He didn't know anything about the frequencies. He thought it was the wand, the protocol, the magnets. When we got to the 30 days, the results were these women have a 25% increase in collagen production in 30 days. So why
Wow.
is that? That's right. You see, it takes 45 days just to start the production of collagen. This
Wow.
was at 25 increase after 30 days.
A month.
So I was ready to go. And then as I've been using and working, I do webinars every month. And as I've been working with all of these women, they are coming to me saying, I feel better overall. I sleep better. I'm happier. And so I'm thinking to myself on the science mind, is it because we're balancing the acupuncture meridians or because when they look in the mirror, they actually want to go do things and they go, you look amazing. And they walk out in their day feeling amazing. I've had so many women say, I've looked in the mirror first thing in the morning. We all have done this and gone, what the heck? And then also said something really negative about ourselves, right? So this is that opportunity to see yourself in a way that you feel good about yourself and walk out in the day how you deserve and should walk out in the day. It really left me in a great place to connect with women and have them be the powerhouse they are and feel like they look like the powerhouse they are.
I can see the excitement. First of all, I hear the excitement in your voice. And then I can see why it would be so exciting because it's how people are, the freshness that they see in the mirror. That would be life-changing. But this
Right.
is so much deeper than that. And
Yes.
I've been doing a lot of study, Cathy, especially this past year, about how we program our subconscious for our very best life. And this goes hand
Mhm.
in hand with what you're talking about. The mantra behind that is our thoughts determine our emotions determine our actions. It becomes a cycle. So whatever that action is, it either leads us in a good trajectory or the trajectory we don't want, which then influences our thoughts, emotions, and
Right. Limbic
behaviors.
lobe.
But then that's very simplified. If you start to smile and train your subconscious, we need to train it with the emotion that's attached to that desire that we want. But as we do that, we then further influence our thought. There's this beautiful piece that you're bringing into that, training the subconscious, visualization, helping to achieve their goals. And now you're giving not only an extra piece to make it more effective, but you're giving them this fresh hope that when they look in the mirror, they're
Yes.
like, and I look good doing it. Like,
Yeah.
look at this. So how fun. Talk to me. How long ago was that research?
So that was like 2008, 18, maybe earlier. I'll have to,
Okay.
maybe 16,
So it's been a while. You're coming
18.
close to a decade ago. Did you begin to produce your product line? What happened from there?
So that actually was my prototype. I'm very picky about ingredients. I needed the ingredients to actually work to do what they're supposed to do, which is more than what most people think their skincare should do. I'm way more demanding of what it really should be doing because shouldn't be superficial. It really is about healthy cells growing to the surface of the skin. So the product needs to penetrate with the nutrients it needs to be able to give it information about how to perform at its best so that
Yeah.
when it comes to the surface of the skin, it's a beautiful cell.
Mhm.
So I added a little green bead to every jar that I've imprinted with frequencies. So the tool is imprinted with frequencies. I've got the little green bead in everyone that's imprinted with frequencies to give messaging to that nervous system. Like tuning a piano, when you take a tuning fork to tune a piano, the tuning fork is designed to give information. So when the piano gets out of tune, it's like our body. Sometimes our body gets out of tune and needs a little help. And so when you expose the piano key to the tuning fork and kind of tweak it and retune it so it matches, it learns how to vibrate at that frequency of that perfect tone. And that's very much like the body is if we bring frequencies that are the perfect resonating frequencies of a healthy cell and expose our cells to it, it starts learning how to vibrate at that healthier frequency. So that's a huge part of the energy medicine that I'm bringing in.
So let's define energy medicine for our listeners.
Okay.
Uh, you and I geek out on this, but some
Yeah.
people might be like, well, that
Woo.
sounds a little woo. Like, what do I do with that?
Understood.
How do I accept it? My
Understood.
paradigm.
Right, right. Quantum physics is something that everybody is really starting to like go, okay, there's energy out there, there are energy frequencies. So there's this whole world of quantum physics that we're learning more about, but there's also quantum biology. In quantum biology, it has to do with cell to cell communication and how that happens. There's three nervous systems, if you will. There's a physical nervous system, which is I put my hand on something hot, I take my hand off, super slow nervous system. And then the second one is what it's referred to as the liquid nervous system. The liquid nervous system is everything that happens in our body that's liquid, like blood and serum and things like that. And there's all this information in that liquid nervous system, like hormones, neurotransmitters, information substances. The third I call the biophoton highway, the energy highway, and that's our light energy. Our body is made of light energy, biophoton, bio being body, photon being light. This is interconnected throughout the entire fascia. This vibrational light energy is an information highway. In Chinese medicine, I don't really consider chi energy, I consider it information. So
Mhm.
it's a research study. It helps me wrap my head around like how does that work? Is that we can have a closed container of under a microscope that shows atoms and quirks and the patterns that they run and it's non-observed, it's camera observed, right? And then you can have someone look into that space and it will change the pattern of how those cells form and bounce around. Some people are familiar with Dr. Matsumoto's work with molecules in water. We can change those molecules based on emotion. He has some amazing research. I won't go into the depths of that because you are familiar with it. That's a great topic. So we know that there's energy. And that's why, like, even just the energy of how we communicate, when you walk in a room, you can feel the energy of the room. That's essentially the frequency. Everything has a frequency. This bottle has a frequency. And what makes it a bottle is how it goes together in those frequencies and how it vibrates. We've had different mechanisms to measure those frequencies. That's why a radio works. You can change the station to a different frequency. Those are pretty solid. We know frequencies are real. It's the subtle energy fields that are a little bit harder to measure. We can measure them, but just not quite as easily. So it's that subtle energy field is where really I'm working because I'm working with the acupuncture meridians and the cell energy of the cells.
So your products and your tools,
Yeah.
what kind of frequencies are you including or imprinting, and how do you do that? How, that's a pretty long,
Okay.
a lot of.
Yeah, so there's definitely a secret sauce to it. But what's important to me in frequencies and imprinting and frequencies is that it's duplicatable. And because that actually is the key, there's a lot of different ways to imprint, but I want it scientific,
Mhm.
duplicatable process that I know the outcome is the same every time.
Perfect.
So I use multiple levels or layers of imprinting that enable me to ensure that happens. I'll make reagents of hundreds of different frequencies. Collagen, how collagen is produced, how the cell detoxes, how the cell strengthens, how the mitochondria works, like all of the different function of the cells, as well as then adding in the frequency of the different acupuncture meridians in a balanced form. So it's the balanced different meridians. So there's lots of different frequencies in it that have to do with being able to retune the cells to functioning at that younger
Mm.
healthy functioning vibration of that cell, like that high vibe
Yeah.
versus the low vibe. So that high vibe frequency of a cell that knows what to do, like it did when it was 25.
So you're reminding the cell, this is where you used to be, and this is where we're going.
Exactly. Right. And the results show that.
Yes. So let's talk about your protocol, some of your favorites, and the different options people
Yeah.
look at
Okay.
True Energy skincare, right? Let's talk about that.
So I'm all about the flagship, if you will. The flagship is 5 skincare treatments because that's what I did the clinical trial, the study with. That's what I have the results with. A lot of people have used different parts of it and have great results as well, but I like to talk about that direct relationship. Cleansing is really important, but the cleansing has to do with making sure that you're using something that actually hydrates as well as has a beautiful fruit enzyme that naturally breaks down that dead skin cell barrier. So that's a constant thing, like morning and night, because it needs to be gentle and it needs to work in your favor, especially over time. What you do to your face today makes a difference for not just tomorrow, but for next month, next year, 10 years from now. We want to make sure that we're getting those optimal outcome from a long-term use of something.
Right.
The other is the scrub. And I think the scrub is really important because of 2 things. One is you have to take it off to put it on. If we can't break down that dead skin cell barrier enough to get product in, it's just going to sit on the surface of the skin. I use a little round jojoba beads that are perfectly round so they don't scratch the surface of the skin. So they're not abrasive, but it's enough to be able to exfoliate in those pores and things like that. Micro scratching causes micro scarring. So having a daytime treatment and a nighttime treatment, they should work differently. Your daytime treatment should protect you from the environment. Your nighttime treatment should be super hydrating overnight. And of course, a serum, because the serum is really important for that super high hydration and concentration. The system should work as a system building on each other. The hydration process from the time you're taking it off should start there. You shouldn't strip before you try to add moisture back in. The
Mm.
other is the delivery system. I use an oleosome delivery system so that you're not just putting products on the surface of the skin. It's like a bead or a seed that holds nutrients so that it penetrates the skin and then can deliver the nutrients to the cell versus just sitting on top of your skin.
Mm.
The other is it should be functional, just like functional nutrition, it should be functional skincare. It shouldn't try to shove collagen in your skin because your skin won't know what to do with it. It's
Mhm.
generally too large, or, that's not how our body works. So it
Right.
has ingredients that teach your cells how to produce collagen. Right.
Neat.
So it's like if you were using functional nutrition, you're going to do, if you're working with someone's thyroid, you're going to give them nutrients to build their natural thyroid, not to shut down its function. So
Right.
very much the same. It's that bioadaptive meets your body, meets your skin where it is, gives it what it needs before it moves on to the next level, and teaches your skin how to function as it should in a healthy producing cell.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have your morning and nighttime routines, and you have a cleanser and different creams, and you have the serum. Talk to me about the bead, green bead in each product that has
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. Can you see that?
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's a little bit blurry, but I've seen
Yeah.
pictures on your website too. There-
Yes, along with some before and afters, which are always good to see, right?
Those are always good to see. Those tell the story. But does that continue to tell me the purpose of that?
So it's imprinted with frequencies and it's designed to optimize the ingredients, active ingredients, the support ingredients, and to work with the wand in the full protocol. Even if you were only using the skincare and weren't using the wand, you're going to get amazing results in, skin and skin repair, plumping, refatting, replumping.
Okay. All right. That's synergistic with the wand. What's up with the
Right.
wand?
Okay. So the wand is also imprinted with frequencies, and it's the protocol that really makes this innovative process that is dealing with lymphatic drainage first. You have to get rid of the toxins out of the cell before you can put good nutrients in it. So lymphatic drainage first. So you're actually going down. Very counterintuitive to go down, right? But
Sure.
because you're using product with good slip, it's nice and gentle and it enables you to get rid of the kind of look or that heavy right here, puffy under the eyes or that bloated look. That's
Mm.
all lymphatics that are just building up toxins on your face. I have seen people look like they've lost 30 pounds in 10 days just with like their face because it's the first time that they've actually had lymphatic drainage on their face.
Mm.
Then the second part of that is lengthening, because there a lot of times what people don't realize is that there's muscles that are dragging our face down and around. When we make those facial expressions that are so perpetual, that
Mm.
those muscles are contracting and dragging. The neck pulls down the muscles on the jawline, and that makes you lose that jawline. The muscles around the mouth and the face, the loss of elastin even here. And then after you can release all of these muscles that are dragging the face down, now the part of the protocol that does the lift and the pop has the room to pop because nothing's dragging it down, right?
Mm.
So to be able to get the pop in the eyes and in the eyebrows, it's about releasing the muscles between the eyebrows and across the forehead to be able to then when you're doing the eye where you can actually get the pop of the eyebrow because you're releasing those muscles that are dragging it.
Okay. So
Very
the
intuitive.
wand, tell us about, it's imprinted, is
It's
it electromagnetic,
yeah.
vibrate or
What
anything?
is it?
Let's talk about that
What is
one.
that?
Yeah.
Right. It's surgical stainless steel
Mm-hmm.
and it has a battery in it
Mm-hmm.
for product penetration.
Okay.
But it's not electric. It doesn't plug in. All the frequencies are imprinted. There's manganese and magnets, like little tiny 800 Gauss magnets, and the magnesium to hold the frequencies that are imprinted in the wand. I actually like to tell people this because there's so many people who are electromagnetic sensitive. I don't turn it on. I don't even have a battery in it. I actually use the protocol without the battery. So that is an option
Okay.
just for the people who are like, oh, I can't use anything on my face that is battery. My study was done without the sonic. I added the sonic because of the little increase of product penetration, as well as you can feel it.
Oh, neat. So if you want to use it, you turn it on. It's
Yeah,
like,
yep, you
okay.
turn it on and then you use it.
Now, with the frequencies that you have imprinted in both your products and the wand, do they maintain the frequencies? Anything
Mm.
need to be refreshed?
Right. I have not found that they do. Every jar you get will have a new bead in it, right? All the imprinting happens with my two little hands because I want controlled environment when I'm imprinting those frequencies. But with my wand, I'm using the same wand that I've used for 10 years, and
Oh,
I've not noticed a difference with it. And I travel, I go through security, and I have not had to re-imprint those.
all right. And then let's talk about, so many times we've been told we need to do a facial protocol, and that it includes exfoliation, just like you and I talked about, and different products. A lot of them are kind of harsh. Have
Yeah.
they have actives that can sometimes be a little too much. Tell me your
Mm.
thoughts about how that affects this. You're working with the harmony of the skin. How does that impact that heavy hand going towards your skin?
Right. You're 100% right. I mean, the first thing is do no harm, right? So
Mhm.
that's our oath, right? So no chemicals. And that's really important is because we've known that a lot of the chemicals that are used in cosmetics can be hormone disruptors and toxins that are just absorbing into your skin.
Yeah.
So it's 100% all natural, made from the earth formulas. And the other is that just as far as the things for people to watch for if they feel like they are using a pretty clean product is that there's hidden chemicals that I'm very much aware of, which is why all of my ingredients are separate ingredients. There's no formulations that go into it as part of the formula, all individual ingredients. Things like perfume or fragrance is a place to hide about 300 different chemicals because it can protect its formula under the proprietary law,
The
trade
whole
secret.
formula in itself.
Exactly, right. Because it's a formulation. And then it's oh, it just is fragrance. It makes it smell pretty. So all of my formulas are super light in scent. The scent is very light because I'm using very small amounts of either essential oils that are they dissipate, or some of them have natural fragrances to them. Like I use a lot of rose in
Mhm.
my oil, so you can definitely smell the rose. The scent should dissipate quickly. If it
Mhm.
stays with you, it's generally because it's a perfume or chemical based.
That's great.
Um, yeah.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the actives. A lot of times people will use the name of an ingredient and it won't be at a percentage of effectiveness. It's not really going to have the effect it had in the lab. And you are absolutely right. It cannot be too much either because then it's caustic. And a lot of times people talk about that with the vitamins like B6 or something that or niacinamide, where too much has a negative effect. And also the source can be a factor as well. It needs to be natural. It needs to be based in plant.
To your point, when you're talking about the actives, maybe not enough, but it's enough for marketing that product.
Yeah,
This has
yes,
CoQ10 in it, or it has hyaluronic acid, and we get sold on those labels very much like supplements. The number
hmm
of people who've reached out to me and said, I saw this supplement on social media or somewhere. My friend told me about it and has all these great ingredients. And I start looking, will you look at it? Because that's what I do. Can't tell you how
Yeah,
many times a week someone reaches out and says, tell me about the supplement. And I'll look through and I'll say, every ingredient looks fantastic. Unfortunately, the levels and the price tag is always 70 or 80 bucks. Unfortunately, the levels are not going to get you anything.
that's right.
So
That's
it
right.
looks great on the label, but it's not really
hmm
do you any
hmm
good
Or how it's processed.
or how it's processed. For a skincare product, if it says hyaluronic acid, that's too big of a molecule, just like collagen. It's not
Yeah,
doing anything. If it's in sodium hyaluronate, we might be in a different ballgame. But again, we got to understand what
that's
that
right.
is actually saying. So
That's right.
I'm so with you, and I appreciate the distinctions in that because we can get tricked in those labels in the marketing.
Yeah, it's hard to know everything.
It is hard to know everything. We don't know everything. For food and supplements and skincare, I often say we need to be defensive shoppers because nothing is as it seems. So we have to really know what we're doing or know someone who does. Um,
Right.
what are your thoughts on more aggressive things like microneedling, salon,
Mm,
and peels that are quite aggressive on the skin?
yeah.
It just made me think about when you're
S-
talking about the jojoba beads
y-
doing no micro scratching.
To avoid the micro scratch, right? I'll bottom line it first, which is that going with nature is always better than going against nature.
Mhm.
And then the other is that aggressive treatments, especially on a schedule, like if they're repeated, will ultimately have an adverse effect. And we don't always know what that is until years later.
Mhm.
So a lot of times women who have had extensive light treatment where their skin peels feel like it looks great, but we don't know the adverse effect of removing the surface of the skin that actually protects us from our environment. It's more prone to lesions and more sensitive to changes in the environment because we've removed a lot of those protective agents. There is a huge value to our skin mantle having that hard to remove skin barrier serves a purpose. We don't want to strip it off. The other is microneedling and things like that. The claim on that is that it helps to increase production of collagen because you're causing injury and collagen will go to the injury. But that sounds a lot like what happens when you cut yourself too. And then it creates scarring. I think you've talked about this too. It's the layering of collagen. Scars are collagen, right? It's just a different layer of the collagen and it acts differently. Like when it's around the fascia that traps the fascia, it's collagen, but it's not the kind of collagen we want.
Right.
So going with nature is always better than going against nature and loving your face in a way that supports it. Anything that has downtime doesn't seem like something I want to put in my toolbox for me.
Good point. And as you were describing that, just about the skin mantle and the reason it's hard to remove, that's intended. That's created for a purpose. And I think about the bark on a tree. And if we
Yes.
damage the bark on the tree, we now open that tree up to parasites, viruses, diseases, things that will ultimately destroy the tree. And I have had microneedling done a few times,
Mhm.
and I bought into the theory, but in the long
Yeah.
run, I'm like, I don't know if that was a good thing or not. I swear,
Mm,
but I like your point that maybe in the short run, but what are we doing in the long run if we're
right.
damaging?
And like you said, marketing is unbelievable. The social media is unbelievable. The beauty industry is really, really good. So
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I've had plenty of women come to me and go, how do I get off Botox? Do I need to do this? What happened? Should I do the vampire thing? I mean, it's out there, but who's going to give you the real fundamental background and thought out process of, well, let's think about this. What's actually happening to the skin when we do this? And what does that look like? And how the skin defends itself? And what is that outcome when we're talking about down the line versus the chronic aspect of that?
Right. I want to ask you a couple more questions. Before we got on, you did mention Botox. So say someone's been doing Botox, but they don't want to do
Hmm.
it forever.
Right.
And you had mentioned some downsides to that that maybe aren't readily like public knowledge.
Right.
Let's talk about that briefly and then what the alternatives are.
I talked a little bit about really what those adverse effects are, which
Mhm.
is that if we're unable to move those muscles in microexpression, we're decreasing the amount of neurotransmitters and information substances that go from our outside world to our emotional brain, our limbic brain.
Mhm.
So if you have a decrease in neurotransmitters, that's going to decrease emotional intelligence essentially. And
Interesting.
that is the adverse effect. And if people are using it in a way that we often do, which is that I have a social event, I've got a new boyfriend, I'm back in the dating scene. These are areas that really make a difference in what people are looking for, especially right now. If you're dating, generally speaking, people are saying no filters, don't use any filters if we're talking. They're also saying no Botox because the facial expressions are, I mean, I don't even know if they're doing it for the same reason that I would, which is that how are you going to know if I'm flirting if I can't give you that coquettish little
Those eyes.
yeah, a smile that doesn't go to the eyes can look a lot like contempt.
Yes,
So I
right?
think
Mhm.
no, and 90% of communication happens without our mouth opening up. So we get a decrease in communication, we get a decrease in connectivity. We don't understand why people are disconnecting from us and we're disconnecting from them. And these are just those subtle things that happen. And then the other is that it is never too late. It's never too late to reverse, to repair, and to reconnect. A lot of times, the women who come to me who have been doing Botox and want to decrease the Botox, but want the benefits of the Botox, they'll say, can I do the protocol while I have Botox? And I'm like, absolutely. But what you'll find is that you'll want to push it off. Like, so if you do Botox every 3 to 4 months, it'll be 6 months where you're like, do I need to do Botox? Because I'm starting to see like smile lines and things like that. But what happens is your face is repairing in such a way that you're getting lift and openness and a youthful look. The lines are just expressions of your emotions and not something that you may want to erase. Like this is how we authentically connect. If I recognize your facial expressions without words, it's like with a mom, do you know when your kid's lying?
Mhm.
Yes, you do. Do you know as a kid when you're in trouble? Yes, you do. It just takes a look. These are things that make us human. These are things that connect us. These are things that make us adore each other. Like, oh, I just feel warm in my heart because I recognize that it triggers my emotional brain to have that warm, lovey kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Never too late.
Yeah, so cool. We could go down such a rabbit trail because now I'm thinking of all the hormones that are released when we see those facial expressions
Yes,
draw us
yes.
closer to each other.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's an area I try to stay out of because it is a rabbit hole. When you get a gut feeling, that's a dump of neurotransmitters. When you
right.
feel love, sometimes you feel that like butterflies in your stomach. You are 100% right. There's a whole rest of the body that chemistry it works on.
That's right, the oxytocin, all the different things. So
Yes.
I think we could keep going for quite a while, but do you have a favorite story of a client, a transformation story that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I would love to because it's a story that I hear often.
Mm.
And it's about the class reunion, whether it's a class reunion or a family reunion. It's the woman who's using true energy. Actually, even I have a guy who gives this story as well. His story is amazing. He's got a twin sister and he was at a family reunion. And people were coming up to him and saying, I'm not going to say this to your sister, but why do you look 15 years younger than she does? Clearly, there was such a distinct difference between them. Most people will say if they haven't seen someone for a while, because we look in the mirror every day. If we see someone, we see them every day. Sometimes I do the protocol, sometimes I don't, because I'm always testing it. My mom always knows, but she won't say, are you doing the protocol? She goes, you look so youthful. You look so rested. You look so happy. And every single time I'm doing it like a 30-day challenge or something like that. I hear that a lot from people. They'll go to the class reunion and people will say, what are you doing? From the last time I saw you, you look like, did you get work done? Did you go on vacation? You look like you've had some work. What's going on? I hear that all the time. That's kind of the real great story of it.
That's really cool. So, if someone wants to start, but they're not sure, tell us the different ways that people could start with your products. What's a bare minimum? And then if you want to go all in, what's that look like?
Okay. Well, I'll give you a website that has a discount offer in it, which I don't usually give out.
Yeah,
And the reason why is because I want people to have the opportunity to try it. And there's also a 60-day bottom of the jar guarantee.
nice.
You don't
Okay.
like it, send it back, your money is returned.
Got it.
But it also, I have a 3-piece set in there as well. That's
Oh,
kind of a starter set. That's a
okay.
much lower price point. And then I have the 5-piece set with the wand. And then depending on what age you are, like maybe you want some work around your eyes. So I have an eye serum and a tool for the eyes that's also imprinted with frequencies.
Oh,
So you're using it around your eye for inflammation.
and there are tutorials for all this, right?
Yeah, every box has a QR code
Mhm.
and the QR code has videos that I've made. And there's instructions. The wand comes with a booklet with the instructions in it. That is trueenergysskincare.com/you. True Energy is TRUENERGY skincare.com
Okay.
/you. You'll see face and body because I have a body sculpting process as well.
Well, I just said this on a recent episode that my legs are getting crepey, which is very annoying. So annoying. So tell me.
I have you covered.
Yeah, frustrating.
Well, so inside out, outside in, when you talk about the cells of the skin, it needs to penetrate. This actually has what's called a molecular band-aid in it. I actually call it the molecular band-aid because it does cellular repair. It does sun damage repair, cellular repair, refatting. It has probiotics in it so that it repairs the biome of the skin. And it has a body sculpting stone that's imprinted with everything that repairs the lymphatic system and the
Wow.
fascia. And then, of course, it sculpts because you can't, I mean, you're dumping toxins with that protocol. So you're going to get like the resculpting of the bat wing and the jelly roll and the thought saddlebag, like all the nice names we call things about ourselves and our body, right?
Yes. So what is that product called?
So this is the BN stone. This is the body sculpting. This is the body sculpting stone. You'll see that on that page because I have both systems. And
Okay.
then also the refreshing, revitalizing hand and body lotion.
Oh, I will be your next
Take
research
photos.
project. I'll do it on one side of my body. I
Oh,
said to my daughter, I was trying a different product. I said, for 2 months, I'm doing one side of my body only. She was like, that just drives me crazy.
you won't need to do it for 2 months. You'll do it for 10 days. 10
Yes,
days. In fact, you and I are a lot alike. When I did the face protocol, I stopped for 4 months and I did one side of my face. I actually picked my weaker side. And I
yes,
did
that's
the
what I
one side of my, right, for 3 days. And I was like, I look like a Picasso painting. I need to do the other side of my face because I did that 30 days. So I had this muscle memory. So when I went back to do it, it only took 3 days for it to go, oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. But I did have a woman who had Botox and fillers do one side of her face. and it actually lifted her brow higher. Her cheek plumped, more defined on her jawbone on that one side. And she is gorgeous. You'd have looked at her and thought, what's going to happen here, right? And you can absolutely see a difference in all areas, like that square jaw versus the narrower jaw from aging. That was amazing.
That's so rewarding. This is very well thought out. I just so appreciate you. I'm a scientist at heart, so for me, I could really geek out for a long time. So I'm definitely going to give your products a shot. And guys,
Excellent.
like what?
Take before and after photos.
I will do it. And I do appreciate that special website. So guys,
Thank you.
I'll have it in the show notes, trueenergyskincare.com/you. And thank you for joining us today. Cathy, this has been so much fun. It is like sitting and chatting with a dear friend over coffee.
Absolutely. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our conversation.
So happy to have you. And guys, thank you for joining us. I always love talking with you. Until next week, stay